Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Primetime News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. Chief of Defense General says the military will not accept anyone pushing or taking any action to push for any change of government in the country. Plus, on the news, police and other security personnel at the National Stadium repel protesting youth who were gathering to commence the day's struggle in Abuja. From the international scene, Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigns and flee the country following weeks of deadly demonstrations. Details of those and more coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa says the military will not accept anyone pushing or taking any action similarly or for whatever reason to want to push for any change of government in the country. The response was a reply for those calling for military takeover in the country. Recall that some protesters, especially those from the north, during the three protests called for the intervention of the military to help resolve the economic challenge of the country. But the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, after a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa Abuja on Monday, said the military stands for democracy. He said the military will continue to defend democracy. The CDS accused political enemies of government as those sponsoring the flying of foreign countries' flags against Nigerian sovereignty, saying such people have been identified and serious action will be taken against them. On the protest, the CDS said the president is clear on his instruction for them not to accept anyone that wants to disrupt the peace and tranquility of Nigeria. This, he said, the security agencies will carry out in synergy with one another to ensure that there is still peace and tranquility in Nigeria. On allegations that some soldiers partook in the looting of people's wares and property in some states, the CDS described such allegation as misconception.
Role all the security agencies are playing. You can see all of us together. We had about 2 hours meeting with Mr. President. We explained to him in details the current situation on ground since the riots have started. And what we realized is that, yes, initially people said it was a peaceful riot, but we have warned against it because we realized that there are individuals that are willing to take advantage of it to cause mayhem, and we can see clearly what has happened since it has commenced. Criminals have taken over, a lot of looting, a lot of stealing and all sorts happening.
Officers of the Nigerian Army and from the Nigerian Police Force on Monday again occupied Eagle Square in Abuja to forestall breakdown of law and order in the access. The move also is to prevent members of the bad government in Nigeria from having access to the area. Unlike the arrangements last week, the entire Eagle Square has been condoned of from the Ministry of Finance as the motorists and commuters were denied free movement to the area. Traffic was diverted from the Ministry of Finance to another section as officers of the Nigerian Police Force were seen checking the identities of commuters at the Eagle Square. Security has been beefed up with the deployment of more officers of the Nigerian Army, Police, DSS, Immigration and the CDC, among others. As usual, the 2 armored personnel carriers have in position at the 2 entrances of the National Assembly with officers on red alert. The usual activities around the Secretariat in Abuja have been affected due to the massive deployment of security operatives. Not only that, combined team of security agencies are currently on constant patrol across the Federal Capital Territory for safety of lives and properties. Day 5 of the ongoing protests in the Federal Capital Territory, though calm, yet was stunned what was disturbing as officers of the Nigerian police gagged everything preventing protesters from having any breathing space. As at noon on Monday, the capital city was calm within the city center, while the National Stadium, the supposed venue of the protest, was agog with few minutes drama. Correspondent Nabuchi completes the story.
The National Stadium was calm as at 9 o'clock this morning until members of the protesting group started gathering. Here, the police, in their show of power exercise, had been moving around, scaring protesters with their long and armored vehicles. While that lasted, members of the protesting youth arrived at the stadium in a long coaster bus with the intention to mobilize and commence the fifth-day struggle. But that could not happen as the police, who were battle-ready, shot at them, infecting their buses with tear gas canisters. Protesters in the bus choked as the driver made his way out to safer place. At this point, they asked everyone to leave the arena or get brutalized. Some of the protesters condemned the action of the police, saying it's against the fundamental human rights of the protesters. They, however, called on the president to reverse, among other things, the removal of the oil subsidy and increment on the electricity tariff. They also asked that the president allows the youth to protest as he is a product of protest.
Because of what we witnessed again today, this morning, the president's speech is empty. The president has not addressed any of the issues that the protesters are agitating. You and I are buying from the same market. Corruption, poverty, food scarcity, insecurity knows no tribe, knows no personality.
They also call for the removal of critical oil sector personnel who are suspected to be doing rackets with Nigeria Commonwealth.
That speech were actually non-Nigerians. If they are really Nigerians, they will know what people are feeling. Even you that do not have, many people are calling you every day, we've not eaten. And you are saying that you are giving minimum wage of 70,000 as an achievement.
Because they are Libyans. And so what is the benefit of what we are going? At this very auspicious time, the president could afford to go for another presidential jet. The president could afford to even buy, is it boat or whatever they call it, cruise boat, when there is no water in Abuja. And his seat is in Abuja. And so, we have the Prime Minister of Britain, for example, goes with British Airways.
It's still scanty because the protesters were repelled by the police on ground. Behind me, you could see the armored tanks and the police officials that are here trying to guard the place, not allowing the protesters to gather anywhere. We are still monitoring the situation and will be giving details whenever the situation changes. From the National Stadium in Abuja here, I am Nabuchi reporting for Galaxy Television News.
Now, the police force have arrested no fewer than 30 #EndBad Governance in Nigeria protesters with the Russian flags in Kano and other states. Also, one of the flag producers, identified as Ahmed Bello, was arrested with a large quantity of flags in Kano State. The force public relations officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, disclosed this in Abuja on Monday at the Strategic Communications Interagency Policy Committee joint press briefing. He added that the police were on the trail of other suspects, especially the sponsors of such acts. Also, one of the flag producers, identified as Ahmed Bello, was arrested with large quantity of flags. Adejobi said the suspects committed a treasonable felony offense by waving a foreign country's flag in Nigeria. According to him, to carry the flags of a foreign country in another country is a criminal offense, adding that officers of the force arrested one Ahmed Bello from Kano State for producing a large quantity of Russian flags given to young Nigerians to go and fly for reasons known to him. He declared that the undertone of the protest, based on intelligence before it commenced on August 1, 2024, have begun to manifest. Adejobi said it has become worrisome that EndBad Governance protest should degenerate to a level where foreign countries' flag will be flown in Nigeria, spreading from one state to another. Nigerians have expressed disappointment in President Bola Tinubu's address to the nation over the ongoing nationwide protest. A trip around the city centre in Abuja on the 5th day of end by the governance protest, security agencies were seen barricading major link roads around Federal Secretariat in the Villa Gate and National Assembly complex. Those who spoke to our crew criticized the President's national broadcast, saying it's not rich enough to address the needs of the citizens. The citizens held that the message did not address the major reason the youth called for the protest inside it. Rather, it read out the President's few achievements in the last 1 year. Others who had their views urged government to do the needful to make lives easy and conducive for Nigerians.
In my submission yesterday night, I made mention of the poor outcome of the content of the submission of Mr. President to the people of Nigeria. In fact, I would say that the content is very poor. The reality remains that Nigerians, the youth, are suffering, and they are the people that is going through the pains more, because the future of Nigeria lies in the hands of the youth.
Only to my understanding, according to the Mr. President's address over yesterday, he touched some area that's concerning the Protestant, but actually the other parts it doesn't talk about the contest. Let me give you an example. For example, like insecurity. Like, I don't know that if you people you had it, but I don't think he talked about the insecurity. He didn't talk about the insecurity.
He did not favor even especially pensioners, because we didn't have anything of reducing of revival back of wealth subsidy, and at the same time again, he did not talk of our palliative, our increment of our salary, and so on and so forth. We only had that that you have to be a stay patient, that everything will be working normal very soon.
They want government to provide the highlighted demands of the protesters, among which is the need for dialogue, especially on how to provide solutions to the problems being faced in the country.
We know that this protest, decent Nigerians have been protesting, but you know, hoodlums have kind of been looting and doing other things, but generally the protest has been peaceful, if not for hoodlums that just infiltrated and tried to spoil things here and there.
Personally, I support the protest, and I must also add that I was very disappointed with Mr. President's speech yesterday, because the issues were not touched. The major issues, they did not touch them. I know their strategy. They are trying to protect the 3-ounce zone. That's all. It's not for the benefit of the masses.
As a matter of fact, if you look at the president's speech yesterday very well, it is very, very obvious that he did not address any of the protester demands, which is very clear. Yesterday I was hosting a live, and so many protesters from Kano and the rest, they said it point and clear that they are not backing that. As a matter of fact, most of them feel the yesterday's speech is even fueling the protest more.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy Television. Coming up next. Management of Nelfund announces successful disbursement of monthly stipends for the month of July to 20,371 students from 6 tertiary institutions. Details of those and more coming your way after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. The End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest continued in Kaduna on Monday as youth in large numbers took to the street to demand an end to bad governance and economic hardship. Although President Bola Tinubu addressed the nation on Sunday, calling for patience and suspension of the nationwide protest, the Youth Day is broadcasted not to address the core grievances of Nigerians, leading to the continuation of protests. Armed with flags of different colors and placards with various inscriptions, the protesters marched along the Constitution Road down to the stadium roundabout in the Kaduna state capital, while other groups were also seen protesting along the Ongwan Seriki Ali Akilu Road, demanding the removal of fuel subsidy and improved economic conditions.
We are expecting you to come out and bring down the price of petrol to 118 naira. We voted you. Government is created to make the people happy, not to make the life difficult for people. Tinubu's administration, Tinubu's tenure, Tinubu's regime has made life miserable for Nigerians, and we cannot take it.
I'm here to show Tinubu he will soon be a former president in Nigeria. If he's not removed the subsidy, yeah, we speak it.
We are not happy. We can look at over 2 million Nigerian youth who are protesting in Kaduna. We are not happy. Our president is not doing well. The price of everything is very high. What we are protesting is let them bring the price of the commodity. Let it go down.
Yes, to Mr. President. Mr. President should consider the Nigerian peoples. We are in the critical condition. People are suffering. No food, fuel scarcity. Fuel have gone to the higher price.
And still in Kaduna State, the State Security Council, under the leadership of Governor Bashani, following a review of the security situation in the state, hereby notifies citizens of 24 hours curfew in Kaduna and Zaria metropolitan cities. A statement which was signed by Samuel Ariwan, overseeing Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, states that sufficient evidence shows sign of hijack of the protest by hoodlums. Following the protest embarked upon by protesters nationwide, Adamawa State Governor Hamadu Fintiri says there is hunger, poverty in the land, hence the protest. The governor disclosed this during a broadcast at the council chamber of the government house, Yola, the state capital. Fintiri, however, appealed to protesters to suspend the protest and give the government of the day enough time to tackle some of the demands raised. According to him, his government is doing everything possible to carry everyone along, as the administration is set to empower 10,000 unemployed, also to make available farming inputs to all farmers across the state.
Unpopular, especially with the way and manner it is carried out in some states across the country. The message is clear and the demands are genuine. None of us can deny the fact that there is no hunger and there is general poverty in the land. This has been made worse by the harsh economic realities, a deficit policy direction and insensitivity.
The Coalition of Northern Youth for Peace and Stability, CNYPS, has decried the violence and wanton destruction of property trailing the ongoing Edward governance in Nigeria in Zamfara State. Not only that, the body also accused the Zamfara State government of supporting the ongoing End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest with its attendant violence and wanton destruction of public properties. At the press conference in Abuja on Monday, the group spokesman Mohammed Garba Yahya accused the government of using the demonstrations as a smokescreen to conceal the administration's corruption, ineptitude and cluelessness. The group alleged that the government deployed thugs and miscreants to infiltrate and hijack the peaceful protest, leading to violence, destruction of property, destruction and looting. It criticized the government for its pervasive corruption, failure to address security challenges, and described Lawal's leadership as a duplicitous political machination that has brought Zamfara state to its knees. CNYPS commended President Tinubu's effort to address the country's socio-economic challenges and urged Governor Lawal to focus on revitalizing Zamfara state.
But also engage in the wanton destruction of properties belonging to the APC and innocent citizens of Zamfara state. Furthermore, Governor Dauda Lawal must be held responsible for his role in perpetuating the deceitful and destructive agenda. We advise he desist from fanning the flames of discord instead of focus on combating corruption and addressing the pressing issue of insecurity within the state.
Honorable Kolawole Akinlayo, a member of House of Representatives, has called on all citizens, particularly the youth, to immediately suspend ongoing protests and embrace peace. He made the appeal while addressing journalists in Abuja on Monday. The lawmaker acknowledged the right to peaceful protest and expression of grievances, but emphasized the need for unity and stability at this critical juncture in Nigeria's history. He assured citizens that the current government is committed to turning things around for the better and urged patience and support through prayers. The lawmaker warned that further protests could be destructive, inflammatory, and cause pain and hardship for citizens, businesses, and communities. He encouraged Nigerian youth to engage in dialogue instead of protest, citing the potential for hijacked and violent protest to worsen the economy. Honorable Akinlayo acknowledged the hardship caused by inflation and high commodity prices, but cautioned that violent protests would only aggravate the situation rather than deepen democracy.
Bad government does not start with this government, so I think we need to get it clear from that concept that bad government has been in Nigeria for time immemorial, but is the constitutional duty of the citizen to also protest if they feel that the government is not doing what they are supposed to do. But as it is, this government is very new, and considering the level of decade inherited by the government. Like they said government is continuous, we all know. But if you inherit a bad structure, it will take a while for you to repair it and make it stand solid. So.
As countries over the world faces one form of insecurity and criminal activity or the other on account of survival, competition and hunger and making efforts to protect the citizens, Nigeria, with a high population and vast landmass, must be seen doing things in tackling these challenges through digital technology, as other Western nations have done in policing theirs, to effectively police its community and fight crime and insecurity. Correspondent Gabriel Odia, who filed in this report, takes a look at community policing and the quest for technological platform to fight crime. The report. Since insecurity and other criminal acts in Nigeria, ranging from terrorism, malicious activities, human trafficking, kidnapping, armed robbery, courtesan, among others, have constantly and increasingly threatened human lives, economic growth and development, communities are becoming safe haven for criminals. Some Nigerians have called on both the federal and the state governments to develop digital technology platforms, such software apps, CCTV cameras, to boost community policing to counter some of these menaces with information from citizens in real time.
We have little means of collecting intelligence, especially from citizens, from the public. So there needs to be digital tools. We need to come up with digital tools, softwares, that would enable citizens to confidently provide intelligent reports to our security agencies, and sometimes anonymously, because some of them are scared of going to the police station to make this report.
Every young man is on the internet now. And so it's all about gathering the information. It's all about, making sure that whatever is happening somewhere is taken down. Because through these gadgets, you're able to take pictures, you're able to take videos. Sometimes you can even hide, and get pictures or videos of what is happening somewhere. The ICT is going to be a plus. It's going to be a plus to make us have the effective security network we are looking out for.
Some of the respondents stated that community policing can be better achieved if government work with private organizations to develop these software and provide digital platforms for citizens to access and provide information to security agencies to work with, like Benue government, who has released over 90 billion naira bond to establish digital security platforms.
Government needs to be able to come up with policies to ensure that once private sector invest in some of these things, that they will recuperate their money. Like we've seen that the governor of Benue State has come up with such kind of initiatives where he has promised that when the private sector comes in and invests, there is a 93 billion naira bond for whoever invests in some of these infrastructures for them to be able to recuperate their money.
And to the story teased earlier, the management of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, under the leadership of Akintunde Soya, the managing director, has announced the successful disbursement of monthly stipend for the month of July to 20,371 students from 6 tertiary institutions. This initiative, according to a statement by the Director of Accounts and Finance of NELFund, Ibom Uche, further underscored President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's promised unwavering commitment to supporting Nigerian students by ensuring financial stability throughout their academic pursuit. It added that students from Bayero University, Kano, Federal University, Dutsima, University of Ilorin, University of Benin, University of Ibadan, and University of Maiduguri, whose institutional fees have already been paid by NELFund, have begun to receive July upkeep stipends. The statement added that NELFund is diligently working to commence the payment process for students from approximately 55 additional tertiary institutions, adding that it has been anticipated that these will be concluded within the next 2 weeks, as the fund is committed to ensuring that all eligible students receive the stipends promptly. NELFund restated its commitment to support the educational aspiration of Nigerian students by providing financial assistance for studies at qualifying institutions and ensuring the timely disbursement of stipend for day-to-day expenses. It added that the President on Sunday committed a further 50 billion naira from recovered proceeds of crime, while the body appreciated the patience and cooperation of students and institutions as it works assiduously to fulfill its previous made commitment to Nigerian students. The Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has called for an attitudinal change and readiness towards addressing corruption, which he described as a deadly cankerworm that lay great nations in ruins and puts the people at great disadvantage. He made the assertion in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, during the 26th edition of the Wole Soyinka Annual Lecture Series held at the Cultural Center in the state capital, with the theme, The Baby or the Bathwater, navigating the dark tunnels of systemic corruption to nationhood. And as a way of navigating this challenge, a former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Njoko, emphasized the need for a change of system of government to reflect a true federalism in order to address squarely the seemingly unsurmountable social, economic, and political challenges facing the country.
All I can dare to add at this point is that the world has roused to celebrate a storied man, fondly addressed by many epithets, including Eni Ogun, which I find very fascinating because of the many subliminal meanings that I myself ascribe to that epithet. But I'd like to add one more epithet, just one more. And this is Eniton. And that perhaps connects to my reference to him as a storied man.
The Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, who could not agree less on this, however, seized the occasion to correct the misconception about the Purite confraternity, which he co-founded in 1952 as an undergraduate at the University College Ibadan, now University of Ibadan.
About institutions, about government. We can talk about even the issue of power, the exercise of power unfairly, inordinately, to the disadvantage of the rest of the community. All that is part of corruption. But ultimately, the solution, short-term, immediate, long-term, has to begin from the inside. And this is one of the motivations for the establishment of the Pirates Confraternity.
Speaking immediately after the lecture, a former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Nyoko, aligned with the course for true federalism to address the multifaceted challenges impeding the growth and development of the country.
Important thing we should do is to change the structure of governance we have now, because the structure of governance we have now makes it difficult for us to tackle the main challenges that this country faces: corruption, insecurity, poverty, lack of development. All are results of the unsuitability of the structure of governance we have now.
Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has said that high cost of living amidst hunger is one of the major challenges facing the nation today. Governor Fubara made this known during the signing of the Executive Order 002 of 2024 for the establishment of the Rivers State Investment Promotion Agency. Speaking of the Executive Order after receiving it from the State Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General, Justice Dagogo Iboroma, the Rivers State Governor said the bill will enable the government to focus on agriculture and healthcare in reducing the high cost of living. On his part, the Commissioner for Justice said the bill will help create a conducive environment for investors.
Looking forward to a robust business deals that will be coming into our states, more especially in the areas of healthcare and agriculture. We understand what is happening in our country today. Half of the trouble is issue of feeding the costs of living. If we're able to reduce the cost of living, 70% of our problem will be taken care of. And that is our dream and desire for Rivers people.
It is important that there be a vehicle to drive, promote, coordinate, and create a conducive environment for investment, development in Rivers State through greenfield, brownfield, public-private partnerships, privatization, commercialization of state-owned assets and concessions, enterprise development schemes.
When members of the House of Representatives came up with the idea of donating 50% of their salary to fight hunger in Nigeria, little did they know that Nigerians from all walks of life will receive the news with mixed feelings as economic challenges bite harder. In this report, our correspondent Dele Fason takes a look at the donation by the House of Representatives as well as its implication on the present state of the economy. The report.
The pledge by the House of Representatives to donate 50% of their salary to fight hunger at the plenary presided by the Speaker Tajuddin Abbas would have been celebrated across the country if the Assembly had not been in the searchlight for long. Taking into consideration the situation in Kenya, which led to a revolt against their lawmakers, some legal practitioners, public analysts, and rights activists who expressed their views said the decision is coming too late and has no impact on their total package.
Well, that is welcome, but I consider it too little,
too small and too late. I say so because upon the assumption of this administration, there were very high expectations, and the expectations have been dashed. Now, if they say they are parting away with 50% of their salary, what exactly is the quantum of their salary compared to the allowance?
It would have been reasonable if it was well timed. Why would they wait for the Nigerians to react, go on planned protest, and begin to shout that hunger is in the land? It is now your elected deputies, your elected representatives, who are the deputies of the people, who should be the people to carry out the grievances of their constituents to the National Assembly.
I don't really understand if they are cutting down their salary of 800,000 or they are cutting down all the allowances that amounted to 13.5 million naira. So they should make Nigeria to understand, because if you are cutting down your salary of 800,000 and you are collecting 13.5 million naira as allowance and other travel allowance, hard furniture and all that, that is higher than the salary, basic salary they are receiving. That means it's a scam.
On his part, the Delta State Chairman, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, and a legal practitioner said the 50% cut will not solve the problem of hunger in the land.
That 50% deduction of salaries of the National Assembly is not enough to fight hunger in Nigeria. But there are needful things that we need to do. We are not manufacturing anything. Even the president in the past administration, they said we should go and produce our own food. We have a lot of persons who empower in the north to produce right.
They are saying, for instance, that they are cutting their allowances, including their furniture, their dressing allowances, their traveling allowances, and what have you. The number of SAs and PAs. Then we would know that they are trying to effect some changes that would make people not replicate the kind of demonstration you have in other parts of the world. But I think it's very laughable. It's comical for them to be talking about salary.
Meanwhile, with a not too good report coming out of the streets amid the hunger protests across the country, the sensing of danger by the lawmakers after the Kenya incident should propel them to enact laws that will benefit the poorest of the poor in Nigeria. From Delta State, Daily Fason reporting for Galaxy News.
Moving on to other stories, the Nigerian Medical Association Kaduna State Branch has addressed the pressing issue facing the healthcare sector in the state. At a press briefing, Chairman Dr. Madaki David Shea highlighted the challenges affecting healthcare workers and the impact on the quality of care. Dr. Shea said his colleague, Dr. Ganiyat Popola, was kidnapped within the premises of the hospital at National Eye Center, Kaduna, with some of her family members, and all effort to rescue her seems abortive. The President-elect Medical Association of Nigeria National President, Dr. Zainab Idris, said their colleague is in captivity, is a breastfeeding mother and need to be rescued as a matter of urgency.
In captivity for over 7 months now. Right from when this happened, we have engaged all the relevant security agencies within the state and outside the state. And we've tried as much as possible to see. We've actually also seen even the Commissioner for Internal Security on this matter. We've written to the governor, to intimate and inform him on this.
This is a woman. 7 months is just too much.
Breastfeeding woman. For that.
And she's there with her nephew. Not only her, with her nephew. There were 3 of them initially that were kidnapped. The husband has been released for a while now, and the wife is still in captivity. Is it because she's a medical personnel? Why is she still being kept in captivity? We know that if the authorities mean it, they can actually bring her out today. So that's all we are clamoring for, and that's what we are asking for. We need her to be out. She's a mother, she's a sister, she's a woman. And I don't think the kind of experience she's going through now,
As the healthcare sector continues to face numerous challenges, the enemy's call to action serves as a reminder of the need for collective effort to address these issues and ensure quality healthcare services for all Nigerians. The NMA also announced its upcoming annual general meeting and scientific conference themed Enhancing Healthcare Delivery Amidst Challenges, Strategies for Sustainable Medical Practice in Nigeria.
I think it's a national issue, and if I get it correctly, in the past few 2 or 3 years, I think there's a statistic that showed that about 15,000 doctors had left the country. You know, so imagine that we're producing and then they are leaving. You know, so it's even worse among the younger ones. You find out that some younger doctors are even not willing to, you know, they just want to get their...
4 persons have been reported to have been killed in Delta community of Ughelli, headquarters of Ughelli North Local Government area of the state. The victims were said to be members of 2 rival court groups, namely Aye and Baga, and were killed in different locations across the community. Speaking to our correspondent in Ughelli, a youth leader who witnessed one of the killing at Okogbe axis advised youth to shun violence, as many persons have lost their lives in the past. When contacted, the Delta Police spokesperson Edafi Bright confirmed the killings, as he reiterated the state government's resolve to arrest the perpetrators of the dastardly act.
I advise me they come up body for these court things, because I not see where court they carry person they go. Many people go school today because of court they not get results. So I not see any good thing when they come up for the thing. Because many people don't die because of court, cause their parents pain, brothers and sisters cause their pain. They're not supposed to think they're going to this thing. They don't even make many announcements. Say they don't need courts for the town.
Now, we move to the international desk for the news. This is news from the international scene. Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and fled the country following weeks of deadly demonstrations. The removal of Hasina on Monday followed weeks of deadly protests and appeared to have averted the threat of further bloodshed. The focus now moves to who will control the South Asian country. In an address to the nation, Army Chief General Waqar Uzzaman announced that an interim government will now run Bangladesh and called for calm. Hasina, who ruled the country for close to 2 decades, boarded the military helicopter on Monday, Annoyed told newsmen, as huge crowds ignored the national curfew to storm her palace in Dhaka. Her resignation came after 300 people died in weeks of protest that the authorities sought to crush. A night of deadly violence on Sunday killed close to 100 and a curfew was called. On Monday, huge crowds stormed the Prime Minister's palace, preventing Hasina from delivering a speech. At least 20 more people were killed during violence in Dhaka as protesters stormed buildings, a police officer told newsmen. Mali has announced it is severing diplomatic ties with Ukraine, accusing a senior official of having admitted Kyiv's role in the ever-defeat in July that killed dozens of mercenaries from Russia's Wagner Group, as well as Malian soldiers. The Northern Tuareg rebels said they killed at least 84 mercenaries and 47 Malian soldiers over 3 days of fighting late last month in the north of the West African country. In what appeared to be Wagner's heaviest defeat since it stepped into the conflict 2 years ago, on July 29, Andriy Yusuf, the spokesperson for Ukraine's military intelligence agency GUR, told the public broadcaster to explain that the Malian rebels had received all the information they needed, which allowed them to carry out the operation against the Russian war criminals. Mali said it had learnt with deep shock of the remarks that Yusuf had admitted Ukraine's involvement in a cowardly, treacherous and barbaric attack by an terrorist group that resulted in the death of members of the Malian Defense and Security Forces. It said it would break off relations with immediate effect. A statement from government spokesman Colonel Abdullahi Meiga said, Mali also cited comments by Ukraine's ambassador to Senegal, Yuri Prifovrov, who was summoned by Senegal on Saturday over a video published on Facebook in which Prifovrov provided unequivocal and unqualified support for the terrorist attack in Mali. Tropical storm Debbie rapidly threatened into a full-fledged hurricane last Sunday and made landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida's Gulf Coast on Monday. The U.S. National Hurricane Center (NHC) warned of record-setting rainfall and storm surges. As it made landfall, Debbie had maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour and was heading north-northeast at 10 miles per hour, according to the NHC. The hurricane slammed into a town of fewer than 1,000 people on the Gulf Coast. The NHC has forecast life-threatening conditions, including storm surges up to 10 feet in some areas. Once it makes landfall, Debbie will likely slowly move north through the week, the NHC said. This is going to be the story of the storm, Jamie Rome, the deputy director of the Hurricane Center, said in a Facebook Live. Its slow motion is going to dump historic amounts of rainfall, potentially over 20 inches. You're talking about catastrophic flooding. Debbie is expected to dump up to 12 inches of rain in parts of Florida, as much as 20 to 30 inches in coastal Georgia and South Carolina before the week is over, the NHC said, describing it as a potentially historic heavy rainfall. This is likely to cause catastrophic flooding in central North Florida, while Georgia and South Carolina are braced for the worst later in the week. Still on the international scene, an Israeli airstrike hit 2 schools in Gaza City on Sunday, killing at least 30 people, Palestinian officials said, while the Israeli military said it struck a Hamas military compound embedded in the schools. An Israeli airstrike hit a tent camp inside a hospital in central Gaza earlier in the day. Gaza health officials said a total of at least 44 Palestinians were killed on Sunday, the day after a round of talks in Cairo ended without results. Footage circulated on Palestinian media showed bodies scattered inside the yard of one of the 2 blast-wrecked schools as residents rushed to carry casualties, including children, and loaded them into ambulance vehicles that took them to at least 2 nearby hospitals. Gaza Civil Engineering Service said dozens were wounded in addition to the fatalities in the school of Azan Salama and Al-Nasser, which has Palestinian displaced families. The Israeli military said it struck militants inside the Hamas command embedded within the school and that it took steps to reduce the risk of civilians there. Israel says the Islamist militant group Hamas regularly embeds in civilian institutions using Gaza's population as human shields. Hamas denies this. Earlier in the day, an Israeli strike inside the Al-Aqsa hospital compound started a fire and wounded at least 18 people, as well as killing 5, medical authorities said. Lebanon on Monday received emergency medical supplies to equip its hospitals for possible war injuries, and Beirut airport was teeming with people trying to leave the country amid fears of a full-scale conflict was on the horizon. Tensions in the region have spiraled in the last week following the killing in Tehran of Palestinian militant group Hamas aid and an Israeli strike on Beirut suburbs that killed the top commander in Lebanon's armed group Hezbollah. Hezbollah and Iran have vowed to retaliate against Israel for the killings, prompting concerns that the multiple fronts being fought in parallel to the Gaza war would escalate into a full-blown regional war. Hospitals in southern Lebanon, where most of the tit-for-tat exchanges between Hezbollah and the Israeli military have taken place, are worn down by a years-long economic meltdown and have struggled to cope with wounded patients over the last 10 months. On Monday, the World Health Organization delivered 32 tons of medical supplies to Lebanon's health ministry, including at least 1,000 trauma kits to treat possible war wounded. Lastly, on the international scene, Ukrainian pilots have started flying F-16s for operation within the nation. President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday, confirming the long-awaited arrival of the U.S.-made fighter jet more than 29 months after Russia's invasion. The Ukrainian leader announced the use of F-16s, which Kyiv has long lobbied for, as it met military pilots at an airbase flanked by 2 of the jets, with 2 more flying overhead on Monday. Russia has been targeting bases that may house them and vowed to shoot them down. built by Lockheed Martin, opens new tab. The F-16s had been on Ukraine's wish list for a long time because of the destructive power and global reporters at an airfield. Zelensky said Ukraine still did not have enough pilots trained to use the F-16s or enough of the jets themselves. It is important, he said, that Kyiv's allies find ways to expand training programs and opportunities for both Ukrainian pilots and engineering teams. And that's it from the international scene. Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Rose Blossom Moye. Here are the stories for today. Veteran actress Tonto Dike breaks silence amid allegations of assault on a car dealer she allegedly owed a debt of 2 million naira. Critic Very Dark Man recently revealed a shocking video showing a movie star involved in a physical altercation with a car dealer. The dispute allegedly centered around the star's failure to pay the outstanding 2 million naira balance on an 86 million naira car purchased in installment over a year ago. Following this allegation, the actress took to her Instagram page to brag, adding that nobody's allowed to stress her. She stated that Oba is not just a title, but also a name, and she doesn't intend to talk too much. Although she locked her comment section, thereby stopping netizens from commenting their views on her post. Award-winning street singer Habib Okikiola, better known as Portable, has penned a sweet note to his girlfriend, Queen Dami, as she turned a year of age today. Taking to his Instagram page to share photos of his queen, Portable called her his star queen as he promised to fly with her forever. He went on to pray for her, hoping God bless her new age. Award-winning music star Paul Okoye has replied to All Progressive Congress APC chieftain Joe Ibokwe for weighing in on his beef with his twin brother Peter Okoye. Joe Ibokwe had expressed shame on how two twin brothers can't work together, love one another, trust each other, forgive each other, manage their wives and all. He noted how their wives couldn't even help them resolve their beef, as he questioned if there was an elder in their family or relatives that could help them settle things. He stated that their childish behavior is an example of success without brains and education without character. Taking to his Instagram story to reply him, Paul called him an elder who is senseless. He admonished him to focus on the country, that he contributed to his destruction as people are hungry. Finally, popular cross-dresser Bobrisky has been released from prison after serving a 6-month jail sentence for naira abuse at a party. Controversial cross-dresser Idris was released on Monday morning. A video of his release from Kirikiri Correctional Center has gone viral, eagerly anticipated by his fans. Interestingly, Bobrisky sports a new look contrary to what his fans expected after his time in prison. Not only did he appear fresh and light in complexion, but his cheeks also looked fuller, which surprises fans. Bobrisky was accompanied by his friends, actress Moyolawa and filmmaker Eniola Ajao, who awarded Bobrisky the infamous Best Dressed Female Award at the premiere of A Beast of Two Words movie, and CEO Lumini, a celebrity fashion designer. In the video, Bobrisky appears in high spirits, dancing while his friends praise him and call him beautiful. Speaking after its release, the cross-dresser spoke out against the practice of spraying money. He emphasized that it's not just violent crimes that can lead to imprisonment. Bobrisky also stated that his time in prison was challenging, highlighting that inmate must strictly follow the rules and regulations of the correctional facility. In a phone interview with Bobrisky's lawyer, Ayo Olufumi, who previously confirmed his client's impending release, said he has served his punishment and is not permitted to speak on his behalf at the time of reporting. Additionally, when asked if Bobrisky would need to return back to the correctional center, Rotimi Oladokun, spokesperson for the Lagos Command of the Nigerian Correctional Service, NCS, said he can't confirm if he still be reporting to the correctional center, noting that if an inmate is released and there are no conditions or terms attached to the release, the inmate is not required to report back to the correctional center. And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom Mwoye. Bye for now.
And that is all we have for you. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Iribami Salako. Goodbye.